Hi Flosstube, it's Lisa Smith, Kindred Stitcher. Today is January 3rd, 2021. We made it, I might have been crawling or limping to the finish line, but we made it through 2020 and it's a new year, a new start, a new beginning. I'm at my friend Lori's house. She's recovering from an illness, and so I'm still hanging with her. I'll be here for a little bit, but I thought I would jump on and do a quick video. And all of the whip parades are going on, and the new starts and the planning, and I'm in love with Flosstube. My stuff is at home, so my whip parade probably won't happen until late January or sometime in February. And it'll give me a chance. There's already a couple things I'm thinking I'm probably going to be give ups or gifts or adopt a whip, or I'm not going to work on it anymore. And I have some other plans that I have for this year as well. But my 2021 the outlook is very ad hoc. So it's really plan as you go. I have a couple of things I want to work on and finish this year, but really I have a lot of whips. I have some left from Mania last year. I have some Mirabilias that I didn't work on at all this year, last year, 2020. And so I do want to work on those. Let's see, I do have some starts that I want to start as well this year. So in other words, just another day, but really nothing new. I'm going to move my table a little bit back here so I don't jiggle against you guys. All right, so when I showed this last time, I was almost done. This is Abigail Colby's work basket. This is Primitive Traditions, and I'm so sorry. Actually, I'm gonna go this way. I'm so sorry, but this is no longer in print. And as people have, asked where they could get it, you'll have to watch for it on the secondary market. I finished the top of the basket. There's also a cartouche this here that goes in the inside bottom of the basket and a little fob that I haven't stitched yet, but I will. I have leftover threads. This is how she turned out. Isn't that pretty? I just think that's so delicate, and the colors are fantastic. The motifs, I was off on one, but I found it right away, and I started to kind of unpick the threads, but the silk, even by using one of these gizmos here, let me see if I can show you. These are really great for using like as an eraser. It's got an eraser to head, and it helps get the extra fibers off the material. Silk, for some reason, just is very fibrous, especially a dark silk. So I just left the mistake that I had made. I pulled a couple threads out, and I was like, oh, that's right. This is really one of those where I'm just going to fudge around it, and I did. But you can't tell, right? You won't know where that is. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer because you can see the lusciousness of the colors. This was stitched with Belle Soie, and the colors are Cinnamon Stick, Baguette, Espresso, and Fawn. And I love these colors. I mean, look at how amazing those are. These are just amazing. I would love to get another skein of this one, that's Cinnamon Stick. So that was my finish, and it was a joy to work on. I put this to the side, a bit different arrangement. So after that one was finished, I worked for quite a bit on my Sarah Chapel. I don't know what it is. Lately I've just been stitching on Shakespeare's Peddler designs, but this is amazing. This is such an amazing design to work on. The flowers, gorgeous, just gorgeous. I can't believe that this girl was 11 when she did this. I think she's 11, yep. And this is the one where I cut off the top of the fabric to use the top part of the half for my Teresa Koget's Newcastle bouquet. I don't know why I couldn't remember that, but Newcastle bouquet, and I cut it pretty short, so I'm going to have to modify the top. Here's where I am. So this is on 46 count weeks straw on Zweigart base linen. I'll get a little bit closer here. I'm going to come this direction. I do have a bit on the bottom here that I'll have to come back and work on. There's some like little flower pots and doodads at the bottom there. They're mostly satin stitched with some, what Teresa calls a wrapped back whip stitch or back stitch. And so I'll need to change that. And then, whoops, get back here. This guy, you see he has little plumes on the top of his head. This one still needs them as well. That one, I'm going to go ahead and give him more of a body. I'm going to stitch some red lines on there to help define him, because if you look at the picture, the original, it seems that way. So I did, this is all called for, except the border flowers are Belle Soie Paprika. And I love that color. The Lindsay Woolsey that I have, which is another kind of a neutral color, it had a problem with the dye a lot, that it didn't, that sometimes the dye doesn't saturate all the way through the skein of thread. And when you stitch it, it has like a, it's not just a variegated look, it's stripy looking. So I exchanged it and I picked out a different one that's comparable. I think it's like sand or sandcastle. Anyway, so I love this one. This is, of course, going to be a focus coming up. This is where it's going to end up with like an inch, maybe. So what I'm going to end up doing is at the top of the text here, there is the, it's a Bible verse and it says Isaiah and it gives the chapter and verse. I'm going to take that out. And then I will do some sort of modification. So I'm stitching, like this will be the top of the pattern. I'll have to, the biggest challenge will be working with this slant. And you know, when you take an inch out of the middle, it changes that a little bit. So I might have to come in at it. I might have to do something different here. I don't know. I'll get to it eventually. That was that whip. And when my husband came down, so my husband and kids came down for Christmas, and they stayed at a timeshare close by, so I could be with them at Christmas and not leave Lori for very long. And so we FaceTimed. I sent my husband in my craft room. I'm like, okay, I need you to go take a left and go to the other craft room. And is there a yellow tray there? Yes. Okay, so let me see what's on that tray. And he showed me, I go, I want everything on that tray. And it was my chatelaine. So I found my chatelaine pattern, and I'm trying to figure out what app I should use. I think Pattern Keeper is the one I'm probably going to use, but really the pattern is pretty good on my laptop. If I make it big, I can see where I am. It's just a lot of material for one pattern. I mean, there's a lot of description, but it's like 20 some pages. It's a huge pattern. So I looked at it, I messed around with it, and I just set it down. He brought it up for me when he came at Christmas. And then I also was thinking about a couple of other whips that I really wanted to work on, and one was Ann Dale. So for the last, I'd say month, maybe the beginning of December, I had been thinking a lot about this pattern. And probably, if I had to guess, y'all are the same, right? So you're working on something, and then something you haven't been thinking about for a while, you're like, man, I really want to start that pattern. Or, geez, I really want to work on this whip, especially when you do a whip parade. Or you just get your whips out at home, right? And you're looking through your stuff, and you're like, which one do I want to work on next? And I will say my stitch 9 and 19, is that what it was? Stitch 9 and 19, I think, helped me get through my old stuff that I either had to decide if I was going to keep it and finish it, or do something different with it, maybe modify the pattern that I had, or just abandon it. And I did finish one of them I adopted out, and one of them I haven't finished, but I will. So not as successful in stitch 10 and 20. I've done some of the projects, but it helped clean out the stuff that I didn't love from my whip pile. So now when I go into my whip pile, everything is, oh, I really want to stitch on this. Oh, I love this. I need to bring this out and work on it some more. And I don't have a formal rotation. I have my blonde to brunette where it's a lighter and a darker that I switch back and forth. But sometimes I'll go longer on one if I'm just really feeling in the groove and want to work on it and I want to finish it. So I had my husband bring Ann Dale down. And I'm going to show you, I worked on the last place I was before y'all, last time you saw it, this thing is like a blanket. This is half of it. No, it's almost half of it. Look how big this is. It's huge, huge. I was right, I had done the top, and down here I had done this and a little bit of this and a little bit of this. So since then, my border's met. I have stitched the border. Good thing I have long arms. I stitched the border. I stitched the cross pieces. I call them foundations. There's one that's partly done, but I wanted to make sure that they met on the other side. I stitched the foundation halfway across. I stitched this motif in the middle, and I did center that one. And I changed the bottom to eyelet stitches. These little things right here. These are eyelets. And I have, let's see, what colors am I using? I'm using the cottons on this. Aren't those gorgeous? They're so pretty. So I did add one silk to the bunch. It is Gloriana Coral Sunset, that longer one right there. So those are the colors, and they look fantastic. This is on 40 count vintage patina by Lakeside. It's not a color you see very often. I had Janine at Acorns and Threads order me the patina, and she said, well, I got vintage patina. And I looked at it and I go, I'll take it. It's exactly what I want. So this one is kind of a, it's not minty, it's like a grayish green. And like Lori, my friend Lori, she's doing hers on vintage pear, and it calls for vintage pear. But my experience with vintage pear, I have a vintage pear that is super, it's all gray. There's no green at all to it. I have a pear that's all green with no variegation, no modeling at all. And hers is a really pretty kind of an olivey mottled green, much darker than this. And they both look great. They're just different. So this is Ann Dale. I talked a little bit with, well, I was just kind of commenting on Reese's last video, and I said, hey, I have Bridget Powers too. I had showed it in my last video, and she had just gotten that one. So we're both like, we should stitch this. And I forgot to tell her that my husband brought Ann Dale down for me to work on. And she was mentioning that she's working on it. And then Jen's Count and Threads is working on it on Instagram. 1-2 Stitch a Few, I think she's working on it too. Several people have pulled it out and are working on Ann Dale. So she's big and beautiful. That's 40 count, the one that you just saw me stitching on. I can't imagine. I just don't know. On a 28 count, it would be a complete, like a quilt. You could quilt it. That one is, I kind of joked you could swaddle a baby in it, but the colors, you guys, are fantastic. So that's Ann Dale. Now, oh, I was working on Ann Dale and I made a grime guard. This is like a tube top. I won't put it on, but this thing is so big. I made it wider so that it could accommodate the fabric, because I stitched an 11 by 17 Q snap, and it was all I could do to try and manage that fabric. I've got extra on the bottom that needs to be cut off, but I'm going to wait until the whole border is in before I cut anything off of it. So I did make a grime guard. And I also started, I had a new start yesterday, so I was going to start my chatelaine, which is Rosarium. I was going to start Blue Ribbon Sampler. I'm going to wait on that one. I was going to start Hannah Pepper. I'm going to do a conversion on that one, and I'm going to wait on that one too. But the one I had with me that I did start is the Garden Club series. So one of the things about this is that I think I'm stitching this on 40 count Lakeside Pecan Butter. There are so many layouts and so many people that have stitched this, that I went online and you can do a 3x4 or 4x3 or a mixture. And so I decided to do a mixture, and this is what my layout is going to look like. There's a Facebook group for this, and I'm a lower left corner starter. So I did start there. This is the one on the lower left. And I will tell you, out of all the patterns, this is the one that I like the least. And it is these colors. It's the gray and what looks to be yellow. And honestly, the top part of all of the vines is endive. Does that look like endive to you? Not even close, right? And then there's a couple of there's Lexington green and flax. So this is what I did. I used the endive on deep, whatever, endive. And then the bottom, I didn't use those two colors. I didn't use flax and Lexington green. First of all, Lexington green did not show up at all in my fabric. So I have completely abandoned that, which made me change the palette really quite a bit on this. I did this one on the stitch piece. I'll show you in a second. The other thing is that this has alternating cross stitch and satin stitch. Oops, sorry you guys, I bumped you. I did the whole thing in tin bucket, which is the color, but my tin bucket had no variegation. So I was really not happy at all. And so last night I pulled out the whole middle section and restitched it and picked a different color. I'm going to show you in a minute. I think I picked dungarees. No, hold on. Oh, here's the flosses. So these are almost identical for Anniversaries of the Heart. A lot of these may already be in the color palette. As I recall, I was looking through both. Yeah, it's dungarees. I was looking through both sets of patterns, and I didn't realize, well, no, I forgot that I had borrowed some of these for other patterns. So as I was stitching along, I realized I didn't have some of the threads that I would have had when I first kitted this up. So these are phenomenal. I mean, but this is expensive. I mean, that's a lot of thread. So I thought, shoot, I need to get going on this because I can rehome this in my stash when I'm done. This is how far I got. I actually did the first one, and then I started on the second one. So the first one is, I think it's a thistle. That versus that, right? So the top part of the leaves and the stems are endive, and the bottom is grasshopper. Grasshopper has like a lighter green and a brownish color to it, so I really like the way that looks. And then I changed the gray that completely disappeared to antique rose. I picked them all from the colors that were already being used in the pattern. I didn't introduce anything more in there. And then the satin stitches, I did the dungarees, which shows up much, much better. I like it a lot. Then this one, the vase is Mountain Mist, and I had swiped Mountain Mist to put it in my G Leger one, which, by the way, should be being delivered from Total Framing. I'm so excited for it to come. But so I had to go online and buy some more of these, some more Mountain Mist and a couple others. And then I changed this. This called for the Lexington green, also the little butterfly, and I changed it all together. So these, because this is on 40 count, stitching out with one thread for the most part. Now the satin stitches, like this satin stitch here, I use 2 threads. 2 threads on this satin stitch and 1 thread on this. So I think what happens is when you want something that's not bordering another stitch, you want some fullness and thickness. But this linen or this white thread here, I stitched the whole thing with 2, and it was just too bunchy on the 40. So I took it out and I stitched it with one thread. This blue here, the dungarees, I stitched that satin stitch with 2 also. So it depends on where you're stitching and how much fullness you want. There she is. She's really, on the 40 count, it's very delicate looking. And it really just doesn't, it doesn't even look like this at all. I mean, I love it. I just started it yesterday. You can tell I'm eating away at it. And I've had to stitch some things a couple times. So I started that. What else? I think that's it for starts and finishes and whips, what I've worked on. Just a few things about things that came in the mail. Donna Dorman sent me a sweet card. Thank you, Donna. She tucked in a few DMCs, a few of her favorite flosses, which I thought was thoughtful. And then this one came from Susan Wagner. Isn't that sweet? And then this one came from Teresa Kogut, who's a kick in the pants. I just really enjoyed meeting her. She tucked in these amazing stickers. They're sampler stickers. Look at this. Okay, this one is one of my new starts. I'm going to start. That might be my Valentine's Day start. And then this one, Land That I Love. Oh my gosh, it's so hilarious. If you watch Teresa. So Debbie Horton and I started Newcastle Bouquet on Thanksgiving. And Teresa on her video goes, Lisa's starting a sale, Land That I Love, on January 1st. No, that's not what it was. And so she had to enter a retraction insert video. It was hilarious. She texted me. She's like, oh my gosh, I completely screwed up. I'm like, that's all right. I screw up all the time. Then, oh, there's this one. I think this is Hope, Love, Hope, and Peace. Is that right? I can't remember the title of it. This one's so pretty. This is one of her newer releases. I can't remember the name of this one. And then, oh, this is Let Heaven and Nature Sing. I think I'm going to have to start this one. Someone else just finished this on Instagram, and I love it. It's gorgeous. So you might check out her Etsy store and see if she has these stickers, if it's a set or what it is, but genius. I love it. Thank you, Teresa. She's so funny. I picked up, of course, Best Buy on the Market. How many, I can't even tell you how many patterns are in here. Okay, so I've already stitched. I have this club piece. I have stitched, in fact, I've got this one. I put it on the front of a project bag. I've had this one for a long time, done this way. Oh, and look at the inside of this one. If you haven't seen it before. Boutique pumpkins. Aren't these cute? Had a tickle in my throat. You know how that is. You start to talk and you suck like spit down your windpipe. Anyway, so I ordered the threads for this one. I love this one and this one. Because, you know, I'm only going to stitch things I love. I've just decided life is too short to stitch the things you don't like. So if I don't like something now, I don't care how far along I am on it. I'll have to look at it and decide, do I love it enough to stitch on it? Or do I want to stitch on something else? So I have this club piece. I'm going to go ahead and start that. I don't know, maybe later this fall, but I just showed you the one that I had stitched for on that project bag. Sweet September, Bittersweet September. This came out, and the other one, they had the same exact name. So when they reprinted it, they changed the name. It must be difficult to keep track of the names of everything. So this one I've already stitched too, and that's framed. This one's called Patchwork Pumpkin. This is the one that they changed the names. This one was so much fun to stitch, and it's so pretty. In fact, I got a frame at a store in Pennsylvania, I think. And I believe it's a strawberry sampler. If it's wrong, I'll put it on the screen here. And it was like $5. So I put this in it and it fit well. I mean, there's an even border around because it's a square frame. But there's a bigger border than I would frame it with now. A border of empty space. So I'm thinking I might take this out. And I really like this finish, this pillow finish, but it's a lot of work to make for a pillow. I don't know. I got other things I'll probably do before I get to that. Melanie from Melanie Smith's Yarn and Threads. She just finished this one, and she did this finish, which is sort of a metallic mercury glass looking finish. It doesn't necessarily look this way in the picture. She did a great job. And I was like, there's a lot of steps to it, but it looks like a vintage. It looks great. So that was thrilled to have. I also picked this one up because I didn't own this one. And I love this one. Wouldn't this just be a great regular ornament to hang on your tree? Or if you had a small tree, you can make a tree topper. That'd be kind of fun. I picked up this one, Kelly Stodola, Don't Look. Quilt pattern, Garden Magic. This was actually a kit, and it was not Blackbird fabrics, which they were great fabrics, but I love this. I did not get to applique in 2020, and that's not going to continue in 2021. I'm for sure going to do some applique. I won something on a giveaway. I didn't even know I won it until it came in the mail. So this is from Keepsake Cottage Fabrics, and every week, all the purchases, the people who bought something, their name went into a drawing, and I won. So I got this really cute bundle of like summertime fabrics. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but this is just, how much fun is that? It's by A Blooming Bunch by Maureen McCormick. It kind of looks 70s, doesn't it? It's kind of fun. Julie Stewart is the owner. So they're an online store. I thought that was fantastic. I didn't even know. Oh, and she gave me a pattern. Vintage Blossoms, Thimble Blossoms by Camille. It's like a Bonnie and Camille pattern. So thank you, Keepsake Cottage. And I picked up a couple of fabrics from my friend Jennifer on Stash Unload. And it's so funny. I should just have her like texting me before she's going to put them up, because I look and I go, hey, please, hey, please. This is Silk Weaver 46 count. I don't know. Havana. It's pretty light for a Havana color, but it's blowing out a little bit here. But this is really a very pretty soft, great sampler fabric. And then this one is also 46 count Mudstone. Oh, yeah, this one's a Mudstone. This one I think has a little more modeling to it. Again, beautiful, beautiful. I love their linen. I was going to say, they're great. Their linen is great to work on. One's a little bit darker. Anyway, you can't see it on here. We got Mary Griffin. This is the Country Sampler Schoolgirl series. It does have a lot of over one, but look at that. I love this, and I might stitch it because you know what? It's not, if you have good magnification, the over one, you just have to pay attention. Here's the thing, you have to commit to it. If you're gonna do it, because you do not want to pull that out. Let me just pull Sarah Chapel back up. Oh, by the way, I did change. This was charted for a red silk, and I changed it to the black color. It's a dark brown, really. But for example, I started the C in the wrong spot. It should be over just a skosh, so I had to fudge right over here. So, because I thought, oh, I'll pull it out. I'm not pulling 46 count over one out if I can fudge it, and I did. And you wouldn't know unless I told you, right? So it is more work to do over one. I think for sure. It's not the pleasurable, just easy stitching, but I really do like this design a lot. I like it a lot. So we'll see. I'll probably stitch it. And that's it. That's it for haul. Oh, so I'm going to insert real quick. I finished, so that's it for cross stitch. I did finish the boys' quilt tops, and I gifted them for Christmas. I had two. And I have the backing fabrics, but I just haven't quilted it. So I need to quilt it, bind it, and put the foot pocket on the back. So on lap quilts in my family, my husband asked for a foot pocket on his quilt. And so I bought flannel, washed it, obviously to shrink it, and then folded it over. I think I may have put like a seam around the edge, like an envelope, and then I just stitched an X around, not an X, stitched around the edge, put the binding on top of it, and it is a huge hit. The kids all want one. So let me just show you their quilts real quick. Okay, so this one is Cooper's. This is my youngest. He's the one that picked a fabric out of the stash to begin with. He picked this one here. And so I actually had sewn more to this and had to take it out because it was way too long. Again, my kids are 6 foot, 6'4", 6'5", and 6'8". So these are really long quilts, like, 90-inch long as a lap quilt. So this is just strips. You can get a jelly roll and do it this way, but I cut strips, 2.5-inch strips, and I just sewed them together in a stripy pattern. It goes on forever and ever. When this is quilted, I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Here's the other one, and this is a offset, what do we call it? It's a 9-patch offset. So you just sew 9 patches, and then you cut down the center vertically and horizontally, and then you move the 9 patches around and you sew them in this fun pattern shape. And then it keeps going down. You just have more of the same all the way to the bottom. Backing for one of them. Isn't that fun? And here's the backing for the other one. So I got work to do. Let's see what else is going on. People I've been watching, Carly Cottage Quilts on Instagram. She and her daughters, Janine, Jeanette, and Heather, have a channel called Crafty Cottage something. I'll put it right here. They live in the same town I live in. I don't know why I didn't know that before, but they have several videos, and they're a lot of fun to watch. Heather is doing Etsy designs that she's putting on Etsy. Her designs are really cute, so I would say go check them out. You will enjoy watching them. I've watched kind of my regular people, and who else recently? I've been really addicted to Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. She's amazing. She does a lot of quilting, a lot of her own finishing. She's very accomplished. I don't know. I'm all into the whip videos, so I watched a lot of the whip parade videos and the plans. Stay tuned for mine. It'll come this month or next month. We'll see. Other than that, isn't that frog cute? He's hilarious. And this is a fertility plaque. So Lori, I love her. That's all I got for you today. Have a blessed day. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Take care.